Hello everyone, and welcome to this 7F video on, this time, managing change and consultants. So we're interested in looking at managing change during ERP implementation. Change management. There is a natural reaction to change, and it can adversely affect productivity over time. So in the diagram here you can see that the initial reaction is to deny the change. People are change averse. A lot of people like to have their worlds remain the same within their own boundaries, and so people are not interested in going along with change, and so there'll be an initial phase, a lot of resistance, but after a period of time, with the right impact from the implementation team, people start to either completely reject the change or to consider it and then later to accept it. And we need to look at how we get to that acceptance phase as quickly as possible. ERP systems lead to paradigm shifts in the way businesses operate and how businesses and their business processes operate. Employees must be educated as to the purpose of these operational changes and encouraged to contribute their ideas on better implementation. And this feeling of being involved in the change is quite crucial. The business case behind adopting ERP, enterprise resource planning, throughout the business should be provided. Change management is well developed as a management technique, and it's vitally important in achieving a successful ERP rollout. Without this change management, productivity, quality and revenue suffer. Change management consists of a systematic means to deal with change at the organisational and individual level. Getting staff from point A prior to the change to point B fully trained with new processes as quickly as possible. It involves unfreezing from unready to change, transitioning in small steps to refreezing. Organisational changes should be managed by a formal process that defines the objects and the objectives of change, states the business case supporting the change, identifies the actors and those who will be involved in supporting that change, defines the schedule of events that will result in change, lists specific steps involved in implementing the change, defines the results, confirming each step's success or failure, kind of KPIs for each step, identifies risks and potential points of failure in the change, and incorporates mechanisms for feedback and plans for continuous improvement. So change agents, their role is to guide, nurture and shepherd human capital to a goal. Change agents need to have a number of skills. They need to understand how to navigate organisational politics to influence positive results. They need to be able to deconstruct an organisation or a process and put it back together in novel ways. Be a keen analyser who can clearly and persuasively defend their analyses to the firm. Speak many organisational languages such as sales, finance, IT and manufacturing, and understand the financial impacts of change either through BPR or improvement. Change agent was employed on the Nestlé ERP project, as we saw in a previous session, made a big difference. In fact, it changed the whole nature of the success of the project. So look at some change management principles. There are 10 of them. So let's just have a look. First is to address the human side systematically. Be prepared to alleviate potential struggles between different sides. Start at the top and promote inclusion and ownership while getting top level buy-in. involve every layer of the company, select a leader at each layer to provide input on the changes. Make the formal case. Management should make a case why change must occur. Create ownership. Management must be involved and committed themselves. Communicate the message. Get the message out to all the staff or they will lose focus. Assess the cultural landscape. Is the workforce amenable to change? It's much harder if not, and needs more measures to be taken. Address company culture explicitly. Define a best culture for the firm before and after change. Prepare for the unexpected. Companies often have problems during projects like this, and be ready to motivate people to keep them behind their goal. Speak to each individual. Every person needs to know their clear purpose and rewards. So managing change is all about the setting goals, motivating people, having a clarity of purpose and a focus, dealing with cultural change as it's needed and cultural resistance, and getting everybody to buy in. Using consultants during the ERP life cycle. Here are some less than favourable views of consultants. In the first of 4 cartoons, we see the managing director talking to somebody who is a consultant. He says, I keep paying you for consulting, but you never make any recommendations. And the consultant says, I'm what you call a feel-good. My job is to make you feel secure in the knowledge that someone brilliant is shaping your strategies. And the managing director says, this is weird, I hate you, but at the same time I feel good. And the consultant says, you're welcome. And the lower pane there's no need to worry about the server virtualization project. This is the guy from the consultancy firm. In phase 1, a team of blind monkeys will unplug unnecessary servers, what we would call consolidation. In phase 2, the monkeys will hurl software at whatever is left. Voila. I'm sure that has happened in at least one project in the past. In the top right here we see somebody working within the company talking to a manager. I'll design the system as soon as you give me the user requirements. Better yet, you could build the system, then I'll tell your boss that it doesn't meet my needs. So the consultant again says, I don't mean to frighten you, but you'll have to do some actual work. And the manager says, well, that's crazy talk. And finally, the consultant in the next one is saying you need a dashboard application to track your key metrics. That way you'll have more data to ignore when you make your decisions based on company politics. And the managing director says, will the data be accurate? The consultant says, okay, let's pretend that matters. It's certainly true that consultants have not always contributed positive outcomes to projects, and it's very important to manage consultants as every other part of the project. So consultants may be involved in the entire implementation process, integrating systems together. They may also just manage the creation of composite applications, such as linking SAP or legacy systems to a range of input-output devices that have graphical user interfaces, and doing all the coding and special coding and linking in between. On the right you see a fragmented SAP IT HR market, and these are the people who will be able to supply services to the project, such as current SAP consultants, current SAP project resources, complementary areas like developer networks and integration agents. There'll be out of work SAP resources that could be brought in, people now supporting other enterprise applications, people who have been holding out for a high dollar pay deal for a project, fringe or junior SAP resources, and those people involved in retooling and retraining. So all of those can feature in the project at some point if needed. Consultants can deliver value if they're used well, but if they're left alone without any supervision, they can be very costly, as Fox Mayer found out. Duran Associates. Michael Duran has got 35 years of business and information systems experience, and his company came up with the SAP engagement model. And it's an engagement readiness model, and it has dimensions of strategy, organisation, goals and measures, consulting and education, and awareness and commitment against an environment, environmental factors, ownership drivers, change management, expertise required, and risk management. And if we look at those, for example, under goals and measures, ownership drivers would be measurable performance goals and objectives for the SAP initiative and getting those established. Under environment and change management, goals and measures would be for project staff and line staff to understand the goals and measures for the initiative. Under expertise, goals and measures would be current performance at key performance indicator level is being measured. And finally, for risk management, under goals and measures, project planning and budgeting should include measurement of risk and remediation for risk. So I won't read you the whole table. You can obviously go through and read that yourself. So SAP Management Consulting, they can also consult on a project and provide integration services. Consultants offer specialised ERP implementation and configuration skills. A typical ERP consultancy, and there are loads of them. They have expertise of SAP ERP, the various modules of that, business intelligence, human capital management, product lifecycle management, supplier relationship management, customer relationship management, supply chain management, and the basic platform SAP NetWeaver. And they can provide integration and development resources around those. You can have a look at their site if you want to. So the benefits and risks of using consultants. The benefits are they should be unbiased and objective, and you can keep them that way with fixed contracts that tend to reduce bias. On the other hand, looking at it as a risk, they could be biased, particularly if they have an association with particular software vendors, and then therefore might be likely to propose non-optimal solutions. Knowledge of vendors, there's a benefit. Consultants can offer views of the strengths and weaknesses of solutions. On the other hand, the risk is that they lack knowledge of clients' business processes and culture, and so they learn on the client's time what the real situation is. Another benefit is the knowledge of best practices. Consultants should definitely know best practice, and so they can include them in implementation plans, saving the company time and cost. But unfortunately, advocacy of best practices may threaten some of the company differentiators and competitive advantage that the firm has built up. So there'll be some resistance, or can be some resistance, to the bringing in of best practice. Another benefit is implementation expertise, familiarity with the technical detail, which avoids many points of failure. On the other hand, they're expensive. Consultants with proven track records command market rates, and these are quite high. Another benefit would be to give the company a big picture focus, but the downside of that is that they may be unaware of process details, and so less effective in managing at the lower end. Another benefit is that they can be innovative, able to envision valuable ways to integrate company processes with ERP software, but on the other hand, that knowledge may not transfer to employees if the consultant does all the work and then leaves. And finally, there are benefits from having senior management endorsement, and without it, the project can be in trouble. Another risk is that they may hesitate to offer legitimate criticism of management actions and decisions if they've been given a seal of approval from the top management. So that's the end of that briefing on managing change in consultants. So thank you very much.